Hey guys, welcome to My Brother's Ballad. I'm your boy Poe Theory. Now, guys, today I was watching The View, and I know some of y'all are like, why are you watching that? But it was one of the first shows that kind of got me interested into politics, along with Real Time with Bill Maher. Some things are just a little too hard to let go. They had a very interesting guest on there today, and that was Andrew Cuomo, former embattled, disgraced governor Andrew Cuomo, who is currently running for mayor of New York City against who I would love to be mayor, Zohran Mamdani. Now, before we get into this clip, guys, I am trying to build this channel. We just made 500 subscribers. I would really appreciate it if you find yourself watching this video to go ahead and click subscribe. We are on a journey to 1,000 subscribers, and I would love to be able to say that you were one of the first 1,000. All right, so let's get into this video.
But you were defeated in the primary by a virtually unknown 33-year-old Democratic socialist and who had no experience doing any governing at all. Now you're running as an independent. Why aren't you doing better? He's beating you by double digits in recent polls.
ABC normally does a lot of flags, so I'm going to have to pause it a couple times just so this video does not get flags. But I just want to make it very clear. Do you see how she just went through his whole thing, how she was speaking about Zohran, 33-year-old, no experience, but never says his name, even though he is the Democratic nominee for mayor. Andrew Cuomo is the one that is running as an independent, essentially, that is not backed by the DNC because he lost the DNC primary. So say his name, Joy. His name is Zohran Mamdani.
In the primary, there were 9 candidates. Seemed like every day there was a new candidate got into the race. I did not run the best campaign I should have run in the primary.
Why? What did you do wrong?
He focused very well, frankly, on younger people, 20 to 30 years old. He was very good on social media. I had a social media operation, was not as good as his. And he really targeted them, and they really turned out to vote, which is...
Okay, he's telling half-truths there. It wasn't just that he targeted young people. It was that he actually had policies that people believed in, which is affordability and not pledging allegiance, the first and foremost, to a foreign country when this city is the most expensive city in the world. And when he says that Zohran won the demographic of young people 20 to 30, let's see. So when he says that Zohran only won the 20 to 30 age demographic, that's actually not true. Zohran had a massive youth wave where he won the age group of 18 to 34, 77%, and 35 to 49, 54%.
Good thing, right? We've always wanted to get more turnout among younger people.
Right.
And that was the disproportionate vote in the primary, were those 20 to 30-year-olds. And they supported him. General is a totally different story. It's a bigger universe. It's more moderate Democrats. It's Republicans. It's independents. More people from the outer boroughs vote.
But I think they see, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think they see him as something new and fresh, and they seeing you as the old school. And that has entered into the situation. I was talking to my son-in-law about it. It's like, oh, them again? You don't like that?
Yeah. You don't think I'm new and fresh?
Well, from the lawsuits that you have, we definitely know you're fresh.
Now, I'm hearing from a lot of people who are worried that a self-described democratic socialist would be running the economic capital of the world, New York City. So I have to ask you, why are you losing to a democratic socialist?
Yeah, because people don't understand. It is a very good question. And look, in the primary, there are...
Do you know how condescending it is? This is why we don't like the old guard. This man just said, because people don't understand. People don't understand what a democratic socialist is. People don't understand the difference between Democrats and democratic socialists. But for some reason, the most popular politician in the country from all sides of the aisle is Bernie Sanders, who is a democratic socialist.
He's a democratic socialist. I'm a Democrat. Well, what is the difference there? And it is night and day. What's really happening is there's a civil war within the Democratic Party going on. and the Democratic Party is looking for its identity. He is a democratic socialist. He is not a Democrat, right? He called President Obama evil and a liar. He did not support Kamala Harris against Trump because she wasn't progressive enough. They have a very extreme view that they're pursuing, which is different than the Democratic Party.
How do you describe a democratic socialist?
So I would also like to highlight, again, everything that he just said about Zohran is probably why he won the primary, because people are tired of the status quo. The status quo is how we got Trump, and you are the status quo, sir.
Democratic Socialist has a much more extreme platform. They're socialist in terms of economic policy.
Meaning?
Meaning they believe government should control the means of production. There should be no private ownership of property.
Isn't that communism more when the government owns everything?
Well, that's why President Trump calls him a communist, but he calls himself a socialist. But just take that, no private ownership of property, right? So
Thankfully, Joy did correct him there. And then again, here he goes bringing up Trump, talking about what Trump is calling the Democratic nominee, as if we should care. To be very clear, if you would like to know what the difference is between a Democratic Socialist and a Democrat, that would be. So what is a traditional Democrat? A traditional Democrat believes in reforming and improving capitalism, not replacing it. Democrats generally support social safety nets like healthcare, education, and labor protections, but within a market-based economy. A Democrat socialist is someone that believes capitalism inherently creates inequity and that key industries like healthcare, housing, and utilities should be publicly owned or heavily regulated to ensure everyone's basic needs are met. They want a more socially owned economy alongside democratic governance. Examples of said Democrats, that would be Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton. Democrat socialists are Bernie Sanders, AOC, Zohran, and these people advocate for Medicare for all, tuition-free college, Green New Deal, and public housing expansion. I don't know how anyone could hate that unless you're extremely wealthy. And we know percentages wise, we are walking ourselves into the new Gilded Age if we already aren't there.
home ownership, you couldn't own your own home.
Well, are you calling him a communist? Because I think what his message that resoundingly resonated with young voters was the issue of affordability. I mean, that outranks crime, that outranks housing, it outranks jobs, because this is the most expensive city to live in the world. So when you're talking about democratic socialism, are you calling him a communist? Because it seems to me that his platform was about affordability.
No, I don't call him a communist. I said President Trump refers to him as a communist. A democratic socialist would be a socialist. You're right, affordability outranks crime, but just barely, especially in this city. Crime is an issue. And the democratic socialists want to defund the police. They want to do away with misdemeanors. They would legalize prostitution, legalize the drug trade, which...
That is such an old school way of thinking about our society. Let's use an example of France, right? Here, because we are a largely Christian, Judeo-Christian nation, even though we have a separation of church and state, our rated R movies tend to be movies that have sex in them. That's what our rated R movies are. But our PG-13 movies would be like an action movie where you see most people lose their lives. You see a lot of violence. That's what you see in our movies. That's how our rating systems work. America has some of the highest STD rates and HIV rates in Western civilization. France has some of the lowest STD and HIV rates when it comes to Western civilization. When you look at their movies, a rated R movie is a movie that has a lot of violence. When you look at a PG-13 movie, it is a movie that has sex, because guess what? Not everyone kills people, but 9 times out of 10, people are having sex. That's how we all got here. I hope that made sense, because I felt like I was cooking right there.
Complaining about the cost of rents, but his solution doesn't really work. You know, his solution is what He's got a great slogan, freeze the rent.
Rent stabilization, right.
For rent-stabilized units only,
Right.
which
Correct.
are only about 25%, 30% of the total units. The remainder, the 75%, he does absolutely nothing for, and they wind up absorbing the increase from the 25, and it's not even a new idea. It was a Bill de Blasio.
I already know that they're not going to challenge him on this. What I wish they would have asked is, well, why would they have to absorb the rent? Is that because the landlords are greedy? They then will raise the rent on the other 75%? Is his policy the problem, or is our problem the greedy landlord?
Idea. That happened 3 times, and we know it didn't work.
I don't mean to take over this interview, but when Mamdani was here, he rejected the fact that he supported defunding the police, and actually he said that he has grown away
Yes.
from that opinion.
Yeah, well, if he's grown, it's been in the past few weeks.
Though he
right?
did fail to issue an apology to the NYPD. He said he'd individually go up to
Yes.
officers. That would, the commissioner, I would start there if you're going to apologize.
Well, listen, he has a long history of state.
I will say this again. That is why he's winning. We are tired of the same old thing. The same old thing is how we got Trump. That's it.
Statements, Twitter, etc. The NYPD are wicked and corrupt and racist and anti-queer, he said. He's a member of the DSA. DSA says the police should be defunded to 0. Do away with jails. Do away with misdemeanors. I mean, it is, to me, radical and totally.
To clear that up, because they aren't challenging him, they are just allowing him to filibuster. The DSA supports defunding in sense of reallocation, shifting a significant portion of police budgets towards community safety, housing, mental health, education, and social services. The idea is that true public safety comes from addressing root causes: poverty, inequity, homelessness, not just increasing policing. Because again, that's what this country does all the time. We just add more police. But every election cycle, we talk about crime rising and how dangerous a city is. But the last election cycle, you said just adding police would fix it.
Trump, remember him?
No.
He seems very invested in the outcome here. As Whoopi said, it's New York City, you know, so it's a big deal. The mayor is the second most important job in the country, basically. He seems to be in your corner, coming out very hard against Mamdani, even threatening to withhold federal money from the city if he wins. Now, you said you don't want and wouldn't accept Trump's endorsement. Good for you. But you've accepted a lot of money from his backers. Am I right?
Well, I have backers who also gave money to Trump and other Republicans and other Democrats.
Okay. Now, Mamdani was here last week, and he had this to say about Trump's motives. Let's watch the clip.
He is looking to clear the field for Andrew Cuomo because he knows that Andrew Cuomo would clear the field for Trump's agenda. This is speaking about a former governor who, when he looked at the deployment of the National Guard in California, told New Yorkers, don't overreact. This is a moment where we have to address the administration for what it is, which is authoritarian. It's going to require us to do everything in our power to fight back, not to coordinate like Andrew Cuomo has done, being on the phone with Donald Trump.
How do you answer that?
He has a problem with the truth, that young man. I was not on the phone with Donald Trump.
Yes, you just heard that. You just heard Andrew Cuomo, who has been credibly accused of sexual assault, saying that Zohran has an issue with lying, that he has an issue with the truth. This is the same man that has used New York taxpayers' money for his defense against sexual assault accusations. And Zohran is the one that is not honest or trustworthy. Got it.
I never said to New Yorkers, don't overreact. President Trump, I am the last person President Trump wants as mayor of New York
Why?
City, because he dealt with me as governor. New Yorkers watch the movie every day. During COVID, I was the governor, he was the president. We fought on a daily basis. He came with all his threats and all his power and might, threatened to put me in jail, had me investigated twice by the Department of Justice, threatened to cut off federal funds.
So he
if
would
we
like
didn't get...
Mamdani to win.
Mamdani
Yes.
is a gift for him.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tell us.
ahead of the midterms, he wants Mamdani to win, 100%.
Yes.
He is not a fan of, I can attest, he's not a fan of yours. Donald Trump is not.
You don't mean that personally.
But let me ask you, Governor, because the New York Times reported that there were 3 sources that said you were on the phone with Trump. If you were on the phone with Trump, what were you talking about?
Yeah, I was not on the phone with Trump. And Alyssa is exactly right. He wants Mamdani, 2 reasons. One, going into the midterms, he will take a picture of Mamdani, run around the country and say, here's what happened to the Democrats. They are now communists. They hate the police. They legalize prostitution.
Guess what? He said that about Kamala Harris. He said that about every single Democrat that has ever run for office while he has been in political life. No matter who runs, he's going to say that about. So why are we choosing our candidates based off of a man that the Democrats claim he's the worst person in the whole wide world? Why do we continue to choose our candidates based off of what the Republicans and Donald Trump says? And I would also like to highlight, Andrew Cuomo is running in this race as an independent, essentially. He did not win the Democratic primary. Zohran is the candidate that won the primary that has the backing of the DNC. Begrudgingly, but he has it.
Drugs. They want to elect this Democrat. No experience whatsoever. Being mayor of New York would be his first real job. Okay?
And that'll send the national troops in because of the crime rate.
Second move, it's good for Donald Trump.
Okay, guys. So, yeah, after watching that segment, and as you can see by my reaction, extremely disappointed in the women of The View. That conversation should have been a lot more hardball. They did bring up his sexual assault allegations in another segment. The fact that this man had to resign from his governorship because of his allegations. And this is a panel full of women, the same women that have so much to say about Donald Trump's allegations, but they are so willing to pussyfoot around and potentially back this guy. The Democrats have they don't want to win. They're not serious people. And again, I would also like to highlight, if Alyssa is the conservative on the panel, if she is more aligned with Cuomo, if you're a true leftist, why would you choose him? All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Again, please be one of the first 1,000. I would really appreciate it. Peace.